Okay, so I'm going to come out and say it. I like Prometheus. I get that there's a lot of people that don't like it, and I get their reasoning, but I can't help but like it. In fact, I'm going to be strictly honest. This was my first, quote, alien movie. Now, the reason why I put quotes on it is because it's a prequel, and yeah, it's trying to tell its own story, but set in the same universe as the Alien movies. And then when I saw Prometheus, I watched Alien, then I saw Aliens, and then saw Alien 3. I refused to see Alien Resurrection. And this movie involves the discovery of a group of people of a species of aliens called the Engineers, who are the ones who create humanity. And yeah, and there are aesthetics of the Alien franchise, such as the Weyland Corporation, which would later become Weyland-Yutani, the synthetic androids, Michael Fassbender being one of them, and by guy, is he awesome. And, well, this crew goes on this mission to find the world that created the world of the people that created them. Now, we also get a lot of great imagery. Like, I did love the fact that they go ahead and show all these great visuals, because Ridley Scott is awesome as a visuals director. My God, he is awesome. And the camera angle is also great. And I did like all the mystery and intrigue that was going on, because this movie was also trying to explain the space jockey, the very legendary space jockey from Alien. Now, originally this movie was going to be called Alien Paradise Lost, which would have been interesting. The script is online, I believe, the original script, because this went through some rewrites. And there was a consideration at one point that they wanted to make Alien 5, and they were going to do that, and then people got concerned when they did finally announce Alien 5 that this prequel series would destroy the fifth Alien movie, which would negate Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection for a variety of reasons. But yeah, yeah, there were a lot of people on board, like, okay, like, they wanted to do they wanted to do a prequel, and then there was a reboot, and then there was a sequel to Aliens, or Alien Resurrection. So there were 4 ideas. James Cameron was discussing a potential sequel with Scott Ridley, and began working with another writer of a story for a film. And yeah. And James Cameron quit because of Alien vs. Predator, believing it would kill the fidelity of the franchise. No, but Alien Requiem sure almost did, I believe, from what I've heard. And yeah. And then we had some issues with Ridley Scott and Fox, because they were debating over this whole, oh, we want you to be director. And Ridley Scott was like, no, I don't want to be director. So, yeah, Fox said that they would only be interested in pursuing the project of the prequel if Scott directed. Yeah, that's awesome. So, by June 2009 of that same year, Scott was contacted to direct the film. And the screenwriter, I'm not going to pronounce the last name, I refuse, was hired to write the script based on his pitched idea for a direct Alien prequel. With the director and writer in place and pleased with the writer's pitch, the Fox scheduled a release date for December 2011, but this was eventually canceled. In June 2010, Scott announced that the script was complete and the pre-production would begin, and a filming date was set for January 2011. Fox eventually decided to push to develop the project into an original work, and by July 2010, Landolph had been hired to redevelop the original writer's screenplay. In October 2010, it was submitted. Scott had initially requested $250 million budget in an adult-oriented project, but Fox was reluctant to invest this amount of money and wanted to ensure the film would receive a lower age rating to broaden the potential audience. Yeah. And like I said, this was originally going to be called Paradise, and then changed to Paradise Lost, and then they went ahead with Prometheus. And it was originally supposed to come out in March, but then got pushed back to June in 2012. And they they decided to go ahead and tell, while Alien was indeed the jumping off point for this project, as Ridley Scott stated, for this project, out of the creative process involved a new grand mythology in the universe in which this original story takes place. The Keen family recognized strands of aliens' DNA, so to speak, but the ideas tackled in the film are unique, large, and provocative. And it was confirmed in June 2011 that it indeed takes place in the same universe as the events of the Alien series. And in July 2011, a year before the movie would come out, Scott stated that by the end of the third act, you start to realize there's a DNA of the very first Alien, but none of the subsequent films. So this was mostly focusing on Prometheus and Alien in terms of how it would, quote, connect. And yeah, there is no mention, there's no Easter eggs of what would become Alien. Well, except for one at the end. And the Prometheus movie is an interesting movie for me. It was trying to be a little challenging and try to not give you all the answers. And I'm a man who really likes to get answers nowadays when it comes to movies and unexplained things. But here's the thing. I'd be alright if they did it in a sequel or even a prequel. But if the producer has to explain, oh, you see, this is the reason why this so-and-so is happening, and not the movie, then I feel like you have failed. I don't care if the movie's good or not. If you don't explain the reasoning behind this certain event and the director, producer, or one of the staff have to explain it in an interview, yeah, that will piss me off. That's the problem I had with Star Wars Rebels. They don't explain Grand Inquisitor's loyalty to the Empire when it was revealed he was a Jedi Temple guard. Then the producer and Dave Filoni had to explain what happened. And then Kanan and Ahsoka knowing each other. Ahsoka not being the wolf, even though that could have been an interesting angle they could have done with in terms of... yeah, I'm not talking about Star Wars Rebels right now, but I could go on a tangent on that. So, anyways, we got a lot of good imagery. We got the reveal of what the space jockey was. It was a spacesuit. Honestly, when I saw the Alien movie, I was like, yeah, that's a spacesuit. That could have been interesting as a creature, but even then, I looked at it and said, that's a spacesuit. Because the face just looks too spacesuit-like, even for an alien way. But I'm trying to wonder, why are they not going to LV-427, I think the place was, but instead going to LV-223? Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, the visuals are great. Everything about this movie for me is great. The acting ranges from acceptable to Michael Fassbender levels. Yeah, Michael Fassbender's in a league of his own. He's honestly the best part of this movie. Everything he does is awesome, even if he indirectly killed somebody. Yeah. So, yeah, there are also explanations that we didn't get in this movie, like I said, and I get why they're going to explain that in the sequel, Alien Covenant, as it was now revealed. And I have it on Blu-ray. I plan to watch it after this video and make a video about that. Okay, this is going to be interesting. But yeah, anyways. There's also some questions that look like it was strictly going to be answered in Prometheus, but then they realized, oh, we got to cut that out for something. Eventually there was going to be a discussion scene with, I'm trying to remember his name, one of the pilots of the ship Prometheus was in a library or something where he starts to go ahead and he wants to explain how he knew this military stuff was going on with the engineers that were going on their way to destroy humanity. Yeah, the captain of the Prometheus. And yeah, the dark liquid was a biological weapon, and I'm like, okay, where did you get that information? That's the one thing I was wondering. Where did you get that? Did you just pull that out of your, you know what? And then it's revealed there was a deleted scene that would have explained why he came to this conclusion. And I said, okay, that would have solved a lot of things. And one of the best scenes in the movie is when let's see, Saw goes ahead and basically rips out an alien creature fetus, and I'm like, oh god. And though that does lead the question, how is she 3 months pregnant? Like, I still wonder about that. They never explained that. I was really curious on that. And it extracted a squid-like creature from her abdomen, and that was a disgusting scene. And then, okay, I don't know what happened between when Saw got rid of the alien fetus and trapped it inside the lifeboat, but I'm wondering, wait, is this the facehugger of what it would eventually become? Like, yeah. And they go ahead and show a scene of it now becoming a giant slug creature. And the engineer tries to kill everybody and kills Wayland. And there's also a question regarding Vickers and David's character. Michael Fassbender's character David. That Vickers might be a synthetic, which would have been interesting. In fact, the director hinted in an interview at a convention where he says there might be 2 of them. And I was like, okay, we got hints of this with Vickers, and we never saw what happened when Vickers went ahead and told the captain of the Prometheus to come to her room. We don't know what happened with that, and they never addressed that ever again. I think they were trying to hint at something, but they didn't want to give the answer away. And I can respect that, but like I said, I'm a man who wants explanation of like what happened. We're not going to get a result from that. Okay, are we just going to get tiny hints of it and then move on with that? So, yeah. People die is what you... And when the third act happens, you kind of expect what to expect. The engineer's pretty much the alien, just killing everybody, and Saw's the only survivor. Well, surprisingly, the synthetic android survives. Especially since this is supposed to be a prequel to Alien, and therefore, and since Ridley Scott was trying to make so much hints to Alien at times, I thought they would kill off David. I'm glad they didn't. And the movie would end with Saw recovering David's remains, and with his help launches an engineer spacecraft. She intends to reach the engineer's homeworld in an attempt to understand why they wanted to destroy humanity, which would be interesting, but at the same time I'm wondering, yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea. Since, they're trying to kill you, don't you think they'll try it again if they find out the plan failed? Like, we've seen hints that there might have been a rebellious movement, like a splinter faction that hated humanity and hated its creation. That would explain some things, like why was the engineers running? Did the Black Wicked have something to do with it? Was there a rebellion? Like, we never got an answer for that, and I'm really hoping the sequel somewhat answers something or gives hints at it. But we get a aftermath in the lifeboat. We see the engineer shaking, going crazy, acting erratic, and then his chest bursts out, and it's revealed to be an early stage of the xenomorph with a split jaw. Yeah. And oh god, that was okay. Okay, here's the best way to describe it. When I showed my friend Lean Deer this movie, especially the creature and it thrusting a tentacle down the engineer's throat. Oh god, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure those perverted anime fans are going to think something, since I've heard of stories regarding anime and when it comes to tentacle stuff. Yeah. I'll shut up now about that, but he was like, oh god, what is with CGI now? It's too realistic. And I just laughed like, yes, yes, suffer! Because I was attempting to torture him at the same time, because I'm evil. With this very suggestive sexual scene with the alien creature and the engineer, and then I showed him the aftermath scene, and once again he was disgusted because, yeah, this is the power of CGI. It's really realistic. But yeah, I had fun doing that, even though he did not. Like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna comment on this video. But yeah, I did like this movie. Like, there were a lot. I thought it was pretty daring not answering all our questions. Like, I knew that they would make a sequel, a pre-sequel to this, and hopefully would explain the things that we never got an answer for. At least some of them, because I knew that there were some questions in Prometheus that were supposed to be left open to interpretation. And I get that. So, it's going to be interesting how all this comes together, hopefully, because I've heard the public reaction for Alien Covenant, but I plan to see this and judge it for myself. And if the stuff I have heard is true, then, oh boy, it will be an interesting video. So, those were my thoughts on Prometheus by Ridley Scott. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more.